Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard proposed a bill to decriminalize marijuana. So let's see what she had to say on the floor of the House.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm rising today to urge my colleagues to support H.R. 1227, the Ending Federal Marijuana Prohibition Act, which I've introduced with my Republican colleague, a fellow Army veteran and former prosecutor from the state of Virginia, Congressman Tom Garrett, where we are seeking to address our outdated and widely problematic marijuana laws by federally decriminalizing marijuana. FBI reports have shown that in 2011 alone, an individual in the United States was arrested for marijuana use, sale, or possession every 42 seconds. Every 42 seconds, mostly in poor and minority communities. Our current laws are turning everyday Americans into criminals, sending them to jail, ruining their lives, tearing apart families, and wasting huge amounts of taxpayer dollars to arrest, prosecute, and incarcerate people for marijuana use, a drug that has been proven time and time again to be far less dangerous than alcohol, both for individual consumers as well as for the people around them. Dr. Donald Abrams, who's the chief of oncology at San Francisco General Hospital, has talked about how in the 37 years that he has worked and served as a physician, the number of patients that he's admitted to his hospital with marijuana complications are 0. Number of patients that he's admitted due to alcohol use is, quote, profound. So rather than actually helping people, our current laws are turning them into criminals, forever impacting their future and the future of their families. Over the years, we've spent hundreds of billions of dollars locking people up for nonviolent marijuana offenses, creating strain within our criminal justice system, clogging court calendars, and resulting in further overcrowding our prisons.
Okay, so that was awesome, and I give Tulsi Gabbard a lot of credit for doing this. And she made logical, factual, rational arguments there that I don't know who can disagree with. So I don't want to get into the obvious angle of this, which is, okay, should marijuana be decriminalized? Yes. I go further. It should be legalized. And by the way, 60% of the American people believe it should be legal as well. So not just decriminalized. So if anything, she's doing something that's even less controversial than saying legalize it. But 60% of the American people are, on this page. So I don't need to get into the obvious, okay, there are economic benefits, billions of dollars in tax revenue that can go towards a million different things, schooling, education, education on the drugs, research, infrastructure, whatever. So there's economic benefits, there's a liberty and freedom benefit to doing it. You'll decrease crime because prohibition increases crime. It doesn't decrease crime. If you legalize, tax, and regulate, you'll cut, the crime rate down. We know because of alcohol, there was alcohol prohibition, crime was up. You legalize alcohol, crime goes down. So, but I don't even want to get into all of that because all that stuff we've spoken about a million times. What I want to talk about is the silence from other Democrats on this issue is just a perfect example as to why corporate Democrats, establishment Democrats, are useless. They're useless Wall Street pawns. Because, so they're so good. How do we win? How do we beat Trump? How do we go fight back against these Republicans? And first of all, too many of them vote with Trump to approve his picks, as we saw with Joe Manchin and the like during that whole process. But whenever they come up with an argument to oppose Trump, it's like, Russia's bad and Russia something, I don't know, Russia, Trump's Putin's puppet or something. So they come up with these fucking hysterical arguments that are just fear-mongering and McCarthyism, and they think if they scream Russia enough that somehow, a single mother in North Dakota who's having trouble paying the bills is going to go, well, I'm going to vote for the Democrats now. I mean, they screamed Russia, and man, do I fear Vladimir Putin. No, you have to actually talk about real issues. So if the corporate Democrats knew what they were doing, and if they weren't corporate Democrats, if they were Justice Democrats, what do you do when Tulsi Gabbard proposes a bill to decriminalize marijuana? Why are you not making this a big thing? Why are, all the Democrats not getting their talking points down, flooding the Sunday shows, and talking about how this is the direction the country needs to go in? President Trump says he cares about creating jobs and making the economy great again. Well, you know how you create tens of thousands of jobs overnight? You legalize, tax, and regulate marijuana. Now, I know she proposed decriminalization, so it's a little bit different. But there are tax benefits. There are all these benefits to it. And 60% of Americans already agree with you. Why are you hesitant to talk about these issues and hammer them home? Why are you not putting the pressure on the Republicans and on Trump and saying, here's what we're for, here's what we're fighting for, the majority agree with us, come out and say no. Now come out and say, make them say no, put them in a corner. Go ahead, say no to 60% of the American people. Say no to all those people who have a brother-in-law or a friend in jail for 15 years over some bullshit nonviolent drug offense. Go ahead and do it. We dare you. We fucking dare you to do it. But they don't know how to do it because the corporate Democrats don't care about actual issues that affect people's lives. They care, I don't know, how do I hold on to power while still taking Wall Street money? How do I do that? I guess I'll scream about Russia or something. Motherfucker, you're never gonna win that way. So all you have to take an issue like this. Take an issue like decriminalizing marijuana. So many people in the country agree with you, overwhelming majority. Hammer it home. Say the Republicans are against it, which means the Republicans are against you, the American people. This is a democracy. They're supposed to implement what you want. Call your congressman, your Republican congressman, ask them why they're against this. Get all the Democrats on the same page, hammer that home. If they were to do that with this issue, if they were to do that with the minimum wage, if they were to do that with background checks, universal background checks for gun purchases, you can coast to an election victory on that alone in 2018. That's it. Just, hey, 80% of the American people want to raise the minimum wage. The Republicans are against it. If all the Democrats in the House and the Senate, in a unified way, flooded all the political talk shows, all gave speeches in the House and in the Senate about here's why we need to raise the minimum wage. These corporations are screwing over the American people. There are millions upon millions of working poor people in America who work full time, but they don't make enough money to survive. If you raise the minimum wage, guess what? That cuts government programs. You save tax money because right now they rely on the safety net. People who make the minimum wage for a living rely on the safety net to make ends meet. So taxpayers would be off the hook if you make the corporations pay them a living wage. How can you lose with 80% of people with you? You lose with on single payer. Over 55% of the American people are with you. You still lose on that. You don't even make an argument for it. Over 90% of people are with you on universal background checks. Why are you not pushing that and all getting on the same page and making the Republicans say, we're against it? We're against it. We're against a universal background check system. And yes, we know that more fucking crazy people are going to get guns and kill people if we don't have a universal background check system. So yeah, we're on the record. That's what we're for. The Republicans recently loosened gun laws, an Obama-era rule which said in Social Security, if you're too far gone mentally to control your own money, well, then you shouldn't have a gun in that circumstance. If you're too far gone mentally to control money, why should we trust you with a gun? The Republicans rolled that back. They rolled that back, and the Democrats, nobody said anything. Nobody said anything. They're giving you a fucking gift on a silver platter. Here, beat me over the head with the fucking sledgehammer. Leave me in a bloody pulp in the ground for the next election. And the Democrats, Russia. They're such a joke. Tulsi Gabbard's 100% correct here. Other Democrats, where the fuck are you? Ro Khanna did a great job the other week. We discussed that. Representative from California. He said, hey, here's Donald Trump's old quote on single payer. He was in favor of a Canadian system. He praised it. So now we're calling on Donald Trump to work with Bernie Sanders and stay true to his word and implement something like that here in America. We want a Medicare for all single payer system here in America. Ro Khanna said it. Were there any fucking Democrats other than him who went out there and said, yeah, I agree with that. Let's all fucking hammer that home and flood the airwaves and give speeches. Nope, none of them. Only Ro Khanna. Nobody else said anything. And they wonder why they lose. They wonder why they can't beat a reality star buffoon with a meerkat on his head and a Cheeto face who said, I grab him by the pussy, I don't even wait. And said, We have to take out their families, talking about murdering civilians during the election. You couldn't beat that guy? You couldn't beat him because you don't care about the issues and you don't fight for the issues and you don't push for the issues. You need to follow in the footsteps of Bernie Sanders, follow in the footsteps of Tulsi Gabbard, follow in the footsteps of Ro Khanna, and then maybe, just maybe, you'll actually start winning. But that means you got to stop taking the corporate money, stop taking it, and actually give a shit about the issues.